Have you heard about the quietest? So stupid. Some of these jokes, like, I don't even want to tell them. They're so dumb.
I feel bad for myself. We apologize to all of our illegitimate children out there.
Okay. Have you heard about the quietest lion in captivity? It doesn't make a sound. Well, unless it's been injured, of course. Because when it pains, it roars.
Yeah, you should feel bad about that.
And that's 3 minutes done.
Hello, I am Waterly Skinny.
Waterly. I am Jurassic Mark.
What are you up to these days?
Oh no, is this one of those episodes where that's all you've written down is puns?
What are you talking about?
Moist, you do this? That's all I got. I wasn't prepared for this.
I'm moist.
I don't like to use the word moist ever.
That was fantastic. How's your week going?
It was good. It was good. Speaking of water and moist and whatever, we've had some rain, but that is the nature of living where we live.
Little rain, little snow,
That's
little
true.
song, little dance.
Little snow. We don't often have snow.
Batman's head on a lens.
What is that from?
It has to be said in such a way.
That rang bells. Is that just Joker talking?
I think it's
That's a movie quote.
it's from one of the Batman movies. Yeah.
Man's head on a lance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's been it seems like it's one of those weeks that just keeps getting more amazing as time passes.
Are you talking about weather still?
I'm just talking about everything.
Or life?
You name
Like,
a
did you
way and it will be excellent this week.
Okay.
Excellent. Name it.
Name something that could happen in your week. Health.
Amazing.
Vehicles.
Fantastic.
Finances.
Working on it. It seems it's funny when you talk about, is there something that's just beyond sunny all the time? So it's like when it's sunny, it's even sunnier.
When it's sunny, it's a scorcher.
It's not a phrase for that, is there?
Not. We're dancing all around not saying our idiom of the day. So let's start with this is how we're going to introduce today's idiom, is with a little quote from a television broadcast.
Okay.
Here we go. See if you recognize these lovely ladies.
When it rains, it pours.
That's all you're going to get.
When it rains, it pours.
I'll tell you while you think about that, I'll tell you what that's from in a second. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is the name of this episode. When it rains, it pours. That is the idiom of the week. You're never going to get it.
I got nothing, man. That's hard.
Yeah, that'd be so hard. If you would have to have just luckily seen that episode. That's 30 Rock. And that's Liz Lemon, the character's name, Liz Lemon, and Jenna Maroney, which is Tina Fey.
I have seen
Jane Krakowski.
30 Rock. Amazing.
But as if you could...
But I'm not going to pick that out.
You know,
it sounds
5
like
words.
It could be like Siamese twins or something. So.
Yeah. There you go. When it rains, it pours. Today's idiom is when it rains, it pours. And
when it's sunny, it's a scorcher.
Yeah, there's no... when it's sunny... Because there's so many variables for rain, right?
It's more light.
There's sprinkling.
Right.
There's a shower.
Sure.
It's
sunny.
Do you know the difference between rain,
super
showers,
sunny
and
out.
rain?
No.
Because you'll hear the weatherman and they'll be like, you can expect rain, or you can expect rain showers.
Chocolate rain.
Chocolate rain.
Chocolate rain. Do you remember Chocolate Rain?
No.
Okay,
We'll
we'll move right along. That guy singing that really kind of rich voice.
Like Barry White.
Chocolate rain.
Chocolate rain. I have no idea what you're doing.
Oh, you'll have to look it up later. Continue.
That's it.
And when it's sunny, it's sunny.
It's sunny. Sunshine. Sunny. More sun.
It's light out when it's sunny.
When it's sunny, it's super, super sunny.
And he sounds like a 4-year-old or someone who's a little bit off their nut a little bit. When it's sunny, it's sunny.
But when it rains, it pours.
It pours.
Imagine, it's too bad there's not an idiom that's the opposite of that.
That's what I'm trying to we're concocting one right now.
No, still with rain. When it rains, it drizzles. So, what does that mean?
Exactly.
When it rains, it drizzles. I'm going to start using that. So a series of events happens.
It's the same.
When it rains, it drizzles.
Well, when it rains, it drizzles.
So there's always a silver lining in that case.
Yeah.
Which is an idiom.
It is. We'll have to
But
save
not
that one for
today's.
another day.
So the correct usage of when it rains, it pours is basically when something happens, it happens in spades. Like it happens abundantly.
Yes.
So usually negatively, right?
It's usually negative, but why don't you share this story with us as we're going through our origins?
Or we go into origins? Origins. The dirty.
You can get into the dirty nerdy in a second, but that when it rains, it pours is always negative, but that's not how it always was. This idiom had a flip side.
That is correct.
Do tell.
Well, let's go way back because it's early.
Way back.
We'll get in the way back
Dinosaurs.
machine. Not quite that way back.
Okay.
1720s. Let's go that.
Okay.
Whatever extinct animals were in the 1720s. So
they weren't in the 1720s because they were extinct.
No,
animals.
A different extinct animal now, but was alive in the 1720s. There's got to be something.
Probably.
Like some version of a tiger or
Probossaurus.
bear. A probossaurus. As early as the 1720s, there's been a proverbial English saying, which is this. Not quite today's idiom. It is, it cannot rain, but it pours. Which is more commonly said, which is now more commonly said when it rains, it pours. But back then, it was like a mockingly optimistic view on rainy London. It cannot rain, but it will pour. Basically, that kind of thing. So that is the origin, the actual origin of today's idiom. Now, the way we say it, when it rains, it pours, it does, like you said, it usually means something negative, a series of negative.
Usually negative.
Occurrences, usually. But, I know that we both came across this, but the way we say it came from a positive spin.
Absolutely. From a particular salt company.
Yeah, it goes back to 1911. I'm going to look, the Morton Salt Company.
Morton Salt.
So they developed a new breakthrough in table salt. I don't know if it'd be called technology, but
it's, coming across like being an inventor in the salt community, how difficult would that have been? So like I've invented some salt and this is different salt.
This one is
more
saltier.
This is more
when it's salt. It's saltier. Yeah, so they had a breakthrough in table salt.
The table salt technology, the nano salt.
Up until 1911
bots.
and this breakthrough with the Morton Salt Company, salt was basically sold in raw, coarse grained that would clump if there's any moisture, right? Or when it rained outside.
When you go camping and you leave that thing out too long. Your salt container out too long, and you
becomes
go
a
back.
rock.
And it's like a rock. It's rock
Which
salt.
is why they put, like, some restaurants, you'll see rice in the salt shakers.
Right.
Because it'll absorb any moisture that was there. Anyway, they figured out how to solve this problem. They reduced the grain size, first of all, and then added a small amount of magnesium carbonate, which was like an anti-caking thing.
Don't get technical. When
that.
you talk over me like
So
that,
it didn't cake?
by shooting off high scientific words,
Anti-caking? Microgravity? It didn't cake, it didn't clump, and it could be poured. It could be poured or shaken out like fine sand.
Absolutely.
Like the sands of an hourglass.
It was actually a positive thing. So that in terms of humidity,
Yeah, so they
when
started
it
advertising
rains, as in humidity and the vapor is out,
The salt still,
it pours.
when it rains,
It
still pours. Yeah.
With their little slogan with like the girl holding an umbrella and like showering down. So that even when it rains and it's humid and you're out in the camping trip,
Your salt still pours.
when it rains,
They
it
knew
pours.
they knew it was an English proverb.
Right.
It cannot rain, but it will pour. And so they were playing on that, and it worked for them. American consumers who had just put up with clumpy salt, now they knew exactly what it meant. Like they heard that and they're like, "Oh, genius! My salt is not going to clump."
I would just be so ecstatic back then. You just like, when you're like putting salt on your food, if you're like stupid and you're like chiseling off salt, it's like, this sucks. Or that guy who's like your server at the restaurant and he's like, "Sir, would you like some salt for that?" And he's like, "Oh," and he's like chipping away at a big salt block because it's clumping all the time. That'd be annoying.
Oh, I wonder. Well, they would just get like
Sir,
a
would you like-
brick of salt and a cheese grater.
It's like Eastside Mario's, but instead of cheese, it's just a brick of salt. I came across it.
Anyway, I don't know why it went back to a negative thing.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Okay.
Because all I know is it was a positive thing from a negative proverb that now is a negative idiom.
So it went through its positive phase. But here's a little dark history with Morton Salt.
Okay.
Okay, this is super interesting. So it's got, excuse me for 1 second while I go through some history. 1974, a company, Thiokol, wins the contract to build solid rocket boosters for the space shuttle program.
You know, Thiokol, it's like if overeating. I know you're losing weight, which is great, but you're. I can't even get the joke out.
When I'm trying to lose weight, I use Thiokol.
No, I'm saying you better give your Thiokol.
Your thighs are so big that they have their own phone numbers. You need Thiokol.
Give your Thiokol. Sorry.
So Thiokol.
There's a joke there
building space shuttles. Okay. The solid rocket boosters for space shuttles. 1982, Thiokol merges with Morton Norwich, which was the
Salt company?
The salt company.
So they must have done more than salt.
They do all sorts of chemical related things.
That's why they're called Morton Salt. It was more than salt.
Morton, more than that. It's because the founder, Mr. Morton. Okay, so Thiokol merges with
Was it Mr. Morton?
Yep.
It wasn't Mrs.?
There was a Mrs. in there. So companies merge up. The merged company is called Morton Thiokol Incorporated, MTI. Now, in 1986...
86.
Yeah, so keep moving through. An O-ring fault produced by MTI, the Morton Thiokol Incorporated, destroys the Space Shuttle Challenger.
Wait, what? What destroyed it?
So they were also Thiokol was made solid fuel rocket boosters.
Same company
Merged then with the company that was the Salt Company, Morton Salt. When it rains, it pours. They are responsible for the O-ring fault, and were found at fault for the destruction of the Space Shuttle Challenger.
No way.
Yes, and the death of those astronauts. When it rains, it pours.
Yeah, it
And
pours bits of astronauts.
That teacher, she was famous.
Was that the one?
That was the one. So that comes from the Morton Salt Company. It's all tied together.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that interesting? And so, her name was Krista McAuliffe. She was a civilian school teacher.
I remember that.
And her last words to her husband was, "You feed the cat and dog, I'll feed the fish."
Really? That's your joke. Oh, man. That was not her last words. Tell me it wasn't. Oh, man.
Those weren't her last words.
I'm like, has she got that big of a sense of humor?
Is, "What does this button do?"
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I don't want to even say these jokes.
Last words were pass the
I have
salt.
to say these jokes.
Pass the salt.
Poor woman. Do you know?
I'm so bored. Let's play ring toss. What does this ring do? The O-ring.
Yeah. The terrible woman. She was
Terrible
lovely.
woman?
No, she was a lovely woman. She had beautiful blue eyes. One blue this way, one blue that way.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
so sorry.
Not too soon. Obviously enough. You know, I'll be honest. When that crash happened, I think enough time. 1986.
1986.
The year of the World's Fair in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Was that's when it blew up, right? And I remember being in school and the jokes were terrible.
Did you have hair back then?
I did not.
I did. As now.
As now?
I still also have hair.
Yeah, I had hair back then.
You did have hair
Lovely
back then.
locks of blonde, wavy hair.
And do you know what shampoo Krista McAuliffe used?
Nope.
Well, they found her Head and Shoulders washed up on shore, so I don't even want to. I feel bad about myself.
Do you know how many?
For even saying that?
Do you know how many 1986 astronauts they can fit into a Volkswagen Beetle?
These are so off. 7?
12. 2 in the front, 2 in the back,
No, I know where that's going.
8 in the ashtray.
I am sorry, but
You started this.
I did. I feel bad. Well, I'll also end it. So this
As they did.
So this poor woman and the shuttle Challenger, the company with the pouring of the salt, is the same mergered up company.
That's crazy.
As built the O-rings that caused the blowout of Challenger.
You know, when I think of salt companies,
I
I'm
apologize.
like, if you're
now
gonna,
I'm feeling bad.
because of my joke. So you're rattling off
your
jokes.
joke was
I tell
terrible.
one joke, and you're like, "Oh, we are."
How do you
terrible
say those
people."
things? you were just gutter,
Man,
filth of the brain.
I tried to resist. I avoided that joke, and then you did that one more about her blue eyes. I was like, "All right, fine."
you. So now I feel bad. So, anywho. Yeah, so that all ties together. So when it rains, it pours.
That's actually really interesting. That
Yeah.
was truly the dirty nerdy
Isn't that
of
something?
history. I think it's so funny though, like a salt company. We also make rubber O-rings.
And rockets.
What? Just stick with the salt. Why do they trust a salt company for their O-rings?
That was the mistake right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, merger upon merger. Yeah.
That's like Mercedes-Benz going, yeah, we're having Wonder Bread deal with our airbags. Why are you getting a salt company?
We're now in charge of TNT and
All right.
lighter fluid.
Put your headphones on. We skipped over one of these. I'm gonna throw one at you here before we move on. This is a goodie.
I have an urgent compig from Space Lab Regular 1 for you, sir. Dr. Carol Marcus.
The tension.
I'll take it to my quarters, Uhura.
Aye, sir.
Never rains, but it pours.
Wait for it.
As a physician, you of all people should appreciate the dangers of reopening old wounds.
Well,
He's not putting up with that.
the Uhura, it's got to be Star Trek.
It is definitely Star Trek, the Wrath of Khan.
That was awesome.
But I loved this
Ricardo
one
Montalban.
because
Khan!
Dr. McCoy, Bones there, he does the old one. It cannot rain, but it pours.
Interesting.
Yeah, he does the oldie.
You know
which
the
I thought was
research that
interesting.
probably went into each of those shows. So anyway, yeah. Salt Company, when it rains, it pours.
That's great.
That was a good one. The tell sign.
So I thought we'd go from Space Shuttle to Star Trek, back to the original
Like it.
idiom.
This thing all comes.
This is all so planned out.
It's a tiny little package. So fun.
You know how my joke? So we challenge each other to write a themed joke.
It's hard.
All my jokes have been like paragraphs long
Yeah.
stories. I think I set a record for my shortest joke.
Okay, I'm liking where this is going.
This is so short that I'm worried we'll not have enough time for. I mean, we'll have too much time for the rest of this episode.
Oh, we're good.
So
We
I'm
still
gonna
got
tell
lots
it
of stuff.
twice.
Okay, good. Perfect.
Are you ready? Here's my
Joke
joke.
in the hand.
Have you heard about the quietest? So stupid. Some of these jokes, like I don't even want to tell them. They're so dumb.
I feel bad for myself. We apologize to all of our illegitimate children out there.
Okay. Have you heard about the quietest lion in captivity? It doesn't make a sound. Well, unless it's been injured, of course. Because when it pains, it roars.
Yeah, you should feel bad about that. We're gonna amass the worst dad joke book ever. It's nice though, but it's original, and
That's it.
and making a joke is really hard.
Do you want me to tell it again?
No, I'm good. I think I got it the first time. Even if I did it, I did prepare a little something for you as well.
Okay, give me your joke.
So you can tell me if you've heard this before.
So you didn't make it up?
I did make it up,
Okay.
but you can tell me if you've heard it before.
Okay. It's so good that somebody else must have come up with it.
About
before you.
Alcoholic Alice.
Alcoholic Alice. AA.
Oh! Alcoholic Alice. She was a horrible drunk. She would be like, pour me a drink, except like more in a woman's voice. Pour me a drink. An alcoholic
your woman's voice?
My alcoholic woman's voice.
Okay. Yeah.
Pour me a drink. I'm a princess. Princess wants you to pour her a drink. She was just belligerent, and it was like, oh my goodness, we can't stand her when she's like this.
Oh,
But so her friends would be all-
I could finish this joke.
So her friends were just tired of her being like this. Pour me a drink. I'm a princess. Princess wants you to pour her a drink. And when she just got like that, it said, you know what? We don't want you to be a princess. We want you to be a queen. Because when you reign, you pour.
Yeah, I could hear it all. I was just like, how are you going to, when she rains, she pours. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, that was
Kinda.
my reigning play on words.
REIGN. When it rain, when she, what was the punchline again?
When you reign,
When you rain, you pour.
when you reign, you pour.
you pour.
It's not you pour. It's you pour.
Sorry.
You pour.
Let me try again. When you rain, you pour.
When when you reign,
That sounds like
when you
somebody's
reign,
name.
you pour.
You pour. It's way better. Well, let's give. No, I was gonna jump into something else. Let's play another clip here. This is a classic. This one goes.
Let me get ready.
This one goes to 19. Okay, I'm gonna give it. Well, no, I'll talk about it after you hear it.
Okay.
1965. We'll call this, and I'm not sure what date to give it because I'll tell you in a second.
Okay.
Here we go.
When it rains, it really pours.
There you go. That, of course, was Elvis Presley. When it rains, it really pours. But here's the interesting thing about this song and why I was hesitant on the date was he recorded that in 1957, did not release it until 1965.
Really?
Yeah, funny, hey?
I've actually never, I not like an Elvis aficionado by any stretch, but I've never heard that.
Well, here's the coincidence of even finding this song, this clip, is I was scrolling through, random YouTube trails and ended up, do you remember the movie or the book? We all had to read it in high school, The Outsiders.
Oh, yeah.
So there was just like this tiny
Pony Boy
clip in The Outsiders on YouTube, and in the background, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's When It Rains, It Really Pours. Who is that?
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a coincidence that I came across that.
It just seems a matter of time before they'll remake that kind of movie.
That movie has quite the history with the author and whatever. There's a reason it became as big as it did, and it's still, I think it's still read in high schools, right?
Yeah,
required reading.
Yeah. It's a winner.
Yeah,
it's a fun movie as
well.
well.
She was 16 when she wrote it.
No.
Yeah,
and the other one on that same list is Grade 8. I haven't seen it, but I want to see it.
8th grade.
8th grade. Is that what it is?
I just saw it, and
Don't wreck it for us.
I won't wreck it, but it's such a uniquely made movie.
That's Bo Burnham? Bo Burnham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, for a while, I was like, what am I watching? It's so different. And then I realized this is about as real.
Because I believe she's actually I think she was actually in 8th grade.
She looks like it.
Yeah.
But it's about as real.
Where it's not like they're using
you just feel
20-year-olds to be in grade 8.
Genuinely awkward, like an 8th grader watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
It's interesting.
So, yeah, anyways.
But is it Essie Hutton? Something like that?
Yes.
For The Outsiders? She revolutionized teen novels because it was always adults writing for teens, and this is what I think those young people are going to like. And she just wrote it. This is what we like.
You did the Matt Foley motivational speaker.
This is what they're going to like. Those kids in their rock and roll.
That's funny.
And yeah, so the 16-year-old writes a book. Wow, we're way off topic. But the 16-year-old writes a book and changes teen literature from that point on. That's why.
And then a bunch of authors came out after that because when it rains, it pours.
Exactly.
I'll bring it back in here.
Author.
You brought her.
All right. You got a joke for? Oh, we did jokes. Riddle Inc.
Absolutely.
Let me give a little shout out.
Again, I apologize to the family of Krista McAuliffe.
Who are dedicated listeners.
Yeah. I appreciate the power of social media.
We have a shout out to the winner or the person who first. We're still doing firsts, but we said in the last episode, we're going to, for the next couple weeks, we're going to give shout outs to anybody who sends a DM with the answers. So
get it out
same
there.
thing. But this one goes back to our episode of Bite the Bullet.
Okay.
And so at Nicole Renea.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, the Riddle Inc was, I lost it here. It's a gorgeous small arms projectile with a soft core and a much harder shell. Did you get this one?
No, I didn't.
It's a gorgeous small arms projectile with a soft core in a much harder shell. This is the first Riddle Inc where I've gotten people inquiring, like, give me a hint.
Oh.
Tell me what this is.
Right.
And they've got Google at their fingertips, so I might have made it too hard, but at Nicole Renea got it with no hints, no helps.
She's a smart girl.
And the answer is beautiful metal jacket.
Nice.
Beautiful. So that's the beautiful is the gorgeous part. And a small arms, I had to get wordy on this part to make it specific enough. Small arms projectile with a soft core and a much harder shell.
You know that Nicole Renea,
full
she's
metal
going
jacket.
Places with her life.
We're assuming again that that's how you say that. We're guessing on that. We apologize for any mispronunciations.
Dang, I wish we could get these right, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Okay.
Anyway, this week's Riddle Inks. You ready for this?
I'm going to go first.
Riddle Inc. I failed to explain
Get in there, make it happen.
A two-part trivia-based question, usually themed to our idiom, but it doesn't have to be. And it requires a two-part overlapping answer. And it goes a little something like this.
Teacher astronaut from the Shuttle Challenger, you have launch.
You have launch. Even though you said it 4 times. Catherine, nope.
Krista.
Carolyn, Krista, McCulloch. McAuliffe. And what was the...
you have launch.
You have launch. Krista McAuliffe.
Nice.
I was like stuck on Krista
I even threw
McCauliflower.
an extra shout out of apology to get it to be one of the last things that you heard.
You know what? I know. Now I realize that. You know what's brilliant about this week's Riddle Inc. by you is that there's usually one of the two halves of the Riddle Inc. Are based on what we've been talking about, but you tied it together. Yours is a complete, both halves go together.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know. As I was writing it, I was like, this is a good one.
Well, I've got another listener submitted, and I apologize right now because I didn't write down the name of the person that submitted this. So I'll have to come back to it maybe in another episode, give credit where credit is due.
All the things.
But this is from a Village-idiom child out there who just wanted to get involved.
All of our Village-idiom children!
Here it goes. It just keeps getting worse, yelled Rosebud. It's a little vague, but I didn't tweak it. This is as it was sent to me.
It just keeps getting worse?
Yelled Rosebud.
Rosebud? I feel like a moron every time we do these.
See...
Okay, again, one more time.
It just keeps getting worse, yelled Rosebud.
When it rains, it pours.
So Rosebud is very specific. It's almost not enough because you have to know exactly what movie this is from.
Oh, pours.
So the movie is Citizen Kane, but we're looking for the actor.
Oh my goodness.
It's a couple of steps away. When it rains...
Orson Welles.
Yes!
Wow.
Out of the back.
When
it rains, it pours in Wells.
It's so you have to envision our game played at a table with like you're having a night out with some friends and you want to play a table game with 6 to 10 people or whatever.
Yeah.
And so if everyone has a piece of the knowledge that maybe it can tie together.
In a group,
yeah,
you can be like, oh, Rosebud is the name of his thing in Citizen Kane.
Right. And so one person knows that. In this case,
I apologize for anyone who hasn't seen Citizen Kane.
Whoever sent that.
Because that was a massive spoiler by saying Rosebud was the name of. Oh, okay. I apologize.
It should be good. This one is full of apologies. You've said some terrible things this episode, and I'm kind of like, okay.
I didn't know we had such
I love you
rigid
regardless,
lines.
and I appreciate, but it's kind of off color, that stuff earlier, and the astronaut.
Just give me your next Riddle Inc.
Okay. The When.It.Rains.It.Pours company should push it real good.
The Morton Salt and Pepper.
That's it.
Yeah, I like that one. That's the best.
Morton Salt and Pepper.
Salt and Pepper. Push it. Push it real good. All right. Okay, I got one more, and I'm going to leave this one hanging, so don't guess it, even if you know it right away. But how can people answer? How can they get a hold of us? Not just to answer these Riddle Incs, but if in our digging up of origins of any of these idioms, if you want to correct us, we are so open to that. Tell us we're wrong. Tell us if we made a mistake.
It is a shallow dive.
It's a shallow dive, and
we're
not fact-checking each other, nor do we have the funds to hire a fact-checker.
No, nor do we care that it's particularly factual.
So we try. We try. We're not making up crap.
Sometimes.
So yeah, how can they get a hold of us?
Please do. I know Mark has to sort through a bunch of these, so he carries the load on working through the Village Idiom Podcast at gmail.com, as well as the.village.idiom for Instagram. check that out and drop a follow there. Or DM him if you do come across a response. And then finally, 3minutesgone.com or thevillageidiompodcast.com.
Yep.
That's a new one you've added in recently, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Which will take you to the YouTubes.
Yep.
Which is it's a video sharing site on the internet.
And if all that fails, you can find 3 Minutes Gone on Facebook too.
All of those things.
Please
drop us some comment. Let's send it
hear
home
from you. Okay, so this one is for all of you out there. You might need this when it rains and pours if you're the queen of jazz.
Wow.
Doesn't that sound a little sarcastic at the end?
I like it.
You might need this when it rains or pours if you're the queen of jazz.
So, I am Skinny.
And I am Jurassic Moist Mark. Wow, I wish I hadn't said that.
And these are the Village Idioms.
That's 3 minutes gone.